Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. This is the official first episode of the Scene Podcast. Um, I want to welcome everybody in. I meant to start this like a week ago, but it hasn't. Last week was hard. Last week was a bit of adjustment. I had lost a close friend of mine, a soldier of mine actually, and things, yeah, things turned out the way they did. And I'll be covering more on that a little bit later in the episode. But for now, I want to get started on some news that just broke here today. Um, so one of them was a pretty shocking story that popped up involving Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp. Everybody knows him as Unc, um, and he was accused of sexual assault allegations from a he's coming under fire with sexual assault allegations, being sued by a woman um, that, in this article, at least that I'm reading, goes under Jane Doe. Uh, she claims that they had a rocky consensual relationship for nearly 2 years, which allegedly included Sharp recording their sexual activities without her knowledge and sharing the footage without her permission or knowledge. And the lawsuit specifies that an incident in which Sharp accidentally live streamed a sexual encounter on Instagram last year was with another woman. So when Shannon had ended up going live last year while he was doing the deed, that wasn't with this person. Um, so the Breakfast Club reports the complaint is the complainant is more than 30 years younger than Sharp, 56, and she is seeking a minimum of 50 million from Shannon in the civil case. That's This is tough news, and of course, no one should jump immediately to speculate that Shannon is automatically guilty. But like, just to see, those that some of us look to as sort of a role model, who've known him since his professional career, leading up to this point, it's that's some news. Granted, we don't know if it's true or not. Like I said, these are all just allegations. Um, but Shannon did reply, and I ended up seeing uh, something from his page put up from his legal representation regarding this. So they're already, responding back, and they, if you get a chance, I would suggest checking out Shannon Sharp's page, because this is a lot. His counsel, Lanny J. Davis, um, puts what he says are text messages that prove otherwise, contrary to what the allegations are. Um, and of course, they're claiming this is 100% not true. So there'll be more development on that as everything um, comes to a head. We'll see how this plays out in the coming days, and hopefully, I'll have more to tell you about that in the future. Um, One thing with this first episode, uh, I definitely wanted to touch on was, your mental health. Um, it's important to feel like you're being heard. Whenever you have cries for help, but definitely important to it's definitely important, very important to speak. You know what I mean? You have to speak in order to be heard. Um, and if you don't speak, people don't know how to help you. You know what I mean? Um, like with this soldier, for instance, she held so much in, um, and I feel uh, didn't really give us the chance to help her in the end. I don't think she wanted it. Um, despite how much everyone cared for her, how much she knew that. And I do believe she knew that. But you got, you, I want those that are struggling to give people a chance to help you. Um, because the pain that you leave behind, it's what you leave behind a lot of pain and scars for those that love you. Um, and it's very sad and true at the same time. Um, I don't want to say the soldier's name or give any other details other than that. I want those listening in the future to please give someone the opportunity to help you because it's out there, especially if you're in the military, right? Our life is hard. We make a lot of sacrifices. We spend a lot of time away from family members during important holidays and birthdays, and um, we, we give a lot for so little, monetary wise. Now, granted, we get a lot of benefits, but those don't make up for the missed time. I'm just getting back from a deployment myself a year ago, and I didn't, even with, all of the monetary value that I gained, it didn't make up for everything that I missed. I missed my family dearly during that time. And even getting back, nothing was the same as I had left it. You know what I mean? And life changes, you know what I mean? Employment situations change. All these changes that came about, I'm still learning to adjust myself, and I've been back for months. So that's just a bit of a PSA on that. Let's talk about some resilience, though, right? So resilience resilience can come in all shapes and sizes, all forms. Um, it when you're speaking on resilience, you're coming from, just enduring whatever hardship it is that you're going through. Right? You don't necessarily have to be a soldier in order to need resilience, and I would hope no one ever told you that you needed to be a soldier in order to, just practice resilience. Right? But I am a master resiliency trainer, and the master resiliency program wasn't even developed in the military. It was developed by, I believe, the University of Pennsylvania. I'll have to double check that. Um, but it was developed by civilians, as tips, as a guide to help with resilience, right? And it comes with uh, many lessons that I actually want to go over, want to teach here on the podcast. And so I'm going to teach one, the first one, the most basic one, which is hunt the good stuff, right? Um, so hunting the good stuff, it's all about like optimism. When you talk about hunting the good stuff, you're talking about just finding the good things that happen to you in your day. It doesn't have to be a lot. It three good things, right? It's something you can do quick and easy on the daily to, just look on the bright side of things. You know what I'm saying? And it works if you're having a bad day, especially. But it's something that you have to give practice to, right? It's sort of like keeping a journal, but it's not, because it's not long, right? You're not gonna chart out your whole day. You're not gonna, you're not gonna say everything that happened within the last week. You're just gonna bring up three good things that happened to you within the day, at the end of the day. And no matter how bad a day you had, it's meant so that once you do that, you're going to be able to be like, okay, so, some good things happen, right? I don't have to, today was bad, but it wasn't the worst. So, how do you do that, right? Um, I'll use myself for example, right? So we're going to talk about today. Currently, I'm unemployed. I ain't got a problem admitting that. like I said, transition's been tough since I got back. I thought I thought I had a job, uh, set to keep me right for a while, but my my orders ended, so I ended up. I've been steadily searching and just trying to get some things set up. But yeah, that's my life right now. So how do I hunt the good stuff in that, right? So what's something good to happen today? I got the podcast set up. You know what I mean? This is a big step. It's something that I wanted to. It's something that I wanted to get started. Right. I got all of the internal things put together. You know. Um, thing number two. Um, I was finally able to get some um, buckets for my dogs, so they could have big buckets of water because they love being outside. But the problem is that it's getting hot where I'm at. Like, it's getting very hot. For to say that it's April, it's getting pretty hot. So I got some big buckets for them, and now they can be outside as they please without me having to worry about them, getting a heat stroke or anything like that. And they have giant buckets of water for them to drink out of. Um, and three, uh, everything's working, right? So like Twitch was giving me issues. Twitch was giving me fits today trying to set everything up. So instead, I set everything up on YouTube. So now I got this to go off of instead. And I think I'm going to use YouTube as a platform here. Um, but yeah, but that's how you use Hunt the Good Stuff, right? Maybe those weren't the best examples. I really didn't do a lot today, if I'm being honest. A lot didn't happen today. But um, yeah, that's how you use Hunt the Good Stuff. You just find three good things that happen to you. Hunt the Good Stuff is meant to build optimism. Um, and as time goes on, I want to introduce you to like the categories such as optimism and uh, more things to bring in the mental health topics, to rein in the resiliency topics and help y'all understand that. Right now, we're gonna take a quick break, and I will see y'all in a moment. All right, y'all, I'm back, and I want to thank everybody that went ahead and joined the stream while I'm here. It's glad to have you. Just in case you missed the first beginning bits, I am Jake Andrew, and this is the first podcast of the scene. All right, y'all, I'm back, and eventually in the future, I want to thank everybody that went ahead and joined the stream while I'm here. It's glad to have you. Just in case you missed the first beginning bits, I am Jake Andrew, and this is the first podcast of the scene. All right, y'all, I'm back, and eventually in the future, I want to thank everybody that went ahead and joined the stream while I'm here. It's glad to have you. Just in case you missed the first beginning bits, I am Jake Andrew, and this is the wow, that was weird. That was awkward. So multiple windows started popping my stream up at the same time because I'm a nervous wreck, and I started clicking things to make sure everything was working. So apologize for that, folks. Welcome back to the stream. All right, so one of the next topics I wanted to cover was um, navigating gender norms in relationships, right? So I was on Reddit today and I found an interesting post about um, where a man shared on Reddit that his girlfriend had become uncomfortable when he discussed topics like menstruation, fashion, or beauty routines, right? He attributes his comfort with these subjects to growing up with sisters and a brief stint in pre med. Uh, Despite his intentions, their conversations led to conflict with his girlfriend, raised in a conservative environment, feeling upset, right? So he was seeking advice on how to address this issue in their 6 month relationship. So, dude feels real comfortable talking like things that women deal with. You know what I mean? Um, and his girlfriend, I suppose, doesn't feel comfortable with those. She was. It sounds like she was raised like a man's supposed to be a man. It's not supposed to get it. Whereas that isn't the case with this guy. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, maybe maybe this. I mean, this is a fine time to have this talk, right? Because they're not married. They're both they're just dating, so they're in the feel it out phase. So this is the perfect time to have like such a conversation between the two of them. Me personally, I mean, I always thought women wanted us to understand that stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't think I didn't think it would ever be an issue for your significant other to want to understand that. Uh, Heck, usually it's the opposite. You know what I mean? Like, I would hear my mother saying when I was a kid to my stepfather, my dad, that you just don't get it, blah, blah, blah. I'm going through all these changes. Like, I would hear that kind of stuff. Uh, so, I guess this particular woman, she doesn't feel that way. She wants, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like stay in a man's place. And that's something that's a little different. Um, I would think that'd be something they wanted. She'd want him to understand personally. You know, and that's not my relationship. I think my wife would like for me to understand that, right? Um, I don't know. I just don't think suppressing such open communication is a healthy thing. Uh, for either of them. So, uh, I don't know, chat. Y'all gonna have to let me know how y'all feel about that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. I hope that it works out. I hope that I mean, and if that's not the type of relationship that either of them wants, then I mean that might just be the end. Personally, personally, I think my wife would love it if I like spoke about that a little bit more. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying, chat. Yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me leave comments. Let me know what y'all think about that. Like, how would you feel about your man being comfortable? You know, being in that space, talking about things like menstruation, fashion, and beauty routines. You know what I'm saying? Like, this sounds like perfect guy to me. He might want to go get a facial with you, do that kind of thing, talk about the skin routine, stuff like that. You know what I mean? That sounds like every woman's dream to me. Um, but that's that topic, right? So, um, what else do we have here? Uh, there's definitely news. The Pope died, actually, just here recently. Pope Francis, he dies at 88. Um, Rest in peace. I'm not a Catholic myself, but it's always been big in our society um, when the Pope dies. But rest in peace to him. Um, from what I hear, he's a very charitable man, and that um, yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Looks like we're gonna have to, you know, they're gonna have to. The Roman Catholic Church is gonna have to find a new pope soon. So there'll definitely be um, some updates on that as everything as they go through the funeral process for the pope, whatever that looks like. Looks like here that he died of a stroke, which followed by a coma and the collapse of his cardiovascular. So it's sad. Uh, it's always sad when somebody passes away, whether you follow those beliefs or not. Um, it's always it's always tragic news to hear. Let's see. So for my stargazers, right? I always found stargazing a little interesting. Um, Apparently, there's going to be a meteor shower between today and tomorrow. Um, Between today and tomorrow, wherever you're at. So, if stargazing's your thing, take a look up at the sky, and if you actually happen to see it, go ahead and let me know. Take some video, and um, I'll have everything set up for TikTok, so you can show me um, TikTok and DM, so I can view it. I've always admired that sort of thing. Um, Always admired this sort of thing from a distance. In the sports world, we got the Duke star Cooper Flag. He is going to go ahead and declare for the 2025 NBA draft. Eh, I mean, the NBA draft has kind of gotten eh to me lately. Like, I really haven't seen that many breakout stars come in the NBA draft lately. And that's just me. You know what I'm saying? When like last year the most exciting news or most controversial news was Bronny James. I'm like, okay, great. What about the number one overall pick? Yeah, there was nothing. So I don't know. He's entering the draft. He could be a potential number one pick. Um, and in which case, he'll get his. He's already getting his flowers from Duke right now. Duke's men basketball has already put up on Twitter about him, um, praising him, even though they fell short in the March Madness tournament. Oh my God! As you can see behind me, go over Wolverines. Wolverines forever over that shoulder. So that'll never change. So apparently, uh, Katy Perry even with it how that woman's been busy lately. Didn't she just get launched into space for like 15 minutes? Well, she's going on. She's about to embark on a tour, the Lifetimes tour, starting April 23rd in Mexico City. Um, so I don't know if that's coincidence that she's doing this tour right after she just got launched into space. Definitely okay. Like, yeah, she's about to start going on tour. Um, Supporting her seventh studio album, 143. So she's going to be coming through Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, and South America, concluding in December. Um, that's a lot of traveling. I don't know. If I just got launched into space, I feel like I'd be trying to chill out for a little bit. You know what I mean? Um, I want to know how everybody felt about 420 being on freaking Easter. I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious on what you did for 420, like for 420 Easter, right? Like, did you 420 it up or did you Easter it up? Me personally, I sat and chilled. I don't participate in 420. I don't. I don't divulge much love to those who do, but it's still legal where I am, and I'm also in the military, so that's a no go for me. But I personally just chilled out on Easter. Um, but hey, if you did do something worthwhile and you celebrated this rare 420 Easter in a unique way, go ahead and let me know. Just let me know how that went for you. See, we got one that went to yeah. They just went to their mom. They just went to their mom's house and got fat, which is always a good thing. I had spent time with my mother on Saturday, so I didn't end up making the drive to do so again on Sunday. This time I just let it be what it was, um, and just stayed home and just tried to relax. I honestly should have spent more time on the podcast myself. Well, working on the making sure everything was running smoothly instead of scrambling how I was an hour ago, working on the darn podcast. So I was watching. Actually, I was listening to the John Jay and Rich podcast. Bree James, who's this? He's just stuff. Let the wild thing run outside. Okay, so Bree Jones, did they end up going to they did an Easter egg hunt? I assume that means they did an Easter egg hunt. Did you have a bunny? I assume they had a bunny. So yeah, people did traditional Easter egg hunt stuff. Um, had a bunny. That's what's up. Um, so let's go ahead and take a quick break, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, peeps, and we are back. Uh, to be in the first stream, I need a little bit of time to adjust. Just trying to learn how this whole thing works. You know what I mean? It's a it's a learning curve for sure, but hopefully in time it'll it's a little bit of time, but hopefully everything works out. So I was going back and re-listening to this old radio show that uh that I used to frequent back when I lived in Arizona, and I truly miss it. It's called the John J and Rich Radio Show. Shout out to them. So if you haven't seen it, I definitely suggest you go ahead and look for the John J and Rich podcast. They do some great segments that that just got me through my workday back when I was working at Terminex Package Control. Shout out to Terminex. Um, but so I was listening to the John J and Rich podcast, right? And hey, shout out Travis, shout out Daniel. Thank y'all for popping in. You know what I'm saying? Supporting your boy. I appreciate it. But I was listening to the John J. Rich podcast this weekend, and it just, you know what I'm saying? I'm still in mourning and in grief a little bit, but it helped me laugh, and it gave me so they do this segment called War of the Roses, right? And so during War of the Roses, they'll bring on somebody who's asked for their help, and they'll because they think their spouse is cheating on them, right? And so they'll ask John J and Rich for help, right? And there's this lady on there named Kyle, and so she'll call, say she's uh, giving out marketing advice. I'm sorry, doing a marketing campaign for their flower company, and she wants to send roses. Um, and she wants to, use the individual to just to send roses for free, blah blah blah. And so there's this one particular one that blew my mind, right? So this lady, she called in, she thought this dude was cheating on her. She thought her husband was cheating on her, right? He had been doing some suspicious behaviors, such as he had been moody. He had been leaving at all hours of the night with no explanation to her. I'm sorry, it was her fiance, right? They're preparing to get married, but he had been moody. He had been leaving at all hours tonight. Just hadn't been acting like himself, right? So she was worried. So she called in. She wanted their help. Blah blah blah. Well, they get the guy on the phone, and um, he ends up sending the roses to his fiance, right? And so she comes on the phone and she's like, "Oh my God, I thought you were cheating." Da da da. And he's like, "No, I would never do that to you. Why would you think I was cheating on you?" And then she told him, "You've been acting weird. You've been acting strange. You've been coming in at all hours of the night." Da 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 da. All right. So they're on the radio and like John Jay's like, "So yeah, what has been up with that?" And so finally it comes out, right? The man hadn't been cheating, but he had a gambling problem. Yeah, the dude had a the dude had been um, getting into some late night gambling and racked up $100,000 worth of debt, right? And even they even asked if like she even asked if like, "Oh my God, are we in danger?" And he couldn't give her an answer. Like it was wild to me. Like, what would you rather have? Someone in massive gambling debt or dude had been cheating on you? I That's tough. Like to have someone to find out such a secret about your significant other, right? Because gambling addiction is real. Dudes have lost their lives because of gambling, and I just hope that that guy sought help because when I listened to it, I think it had been a couple of weeks old. It had been a couple of weeks. Um, but I hope that guy found help. I really do, and I hope to safe for the safety of his fiance and himself that he's able to somehow find a way to pay off those debts because I'm the gambling bug is real and it's sad. It can destroy your life. It can destroy your family. It's not something that's to be played around with, especially when you're getting loans from someone to pay this, right? And you're just burying yourself a deeper hole. Um, I got my own vices. I do, and I'm just glad that's not one of them. You know what I mean? Like one that could endanger my family. Like that one's that one's pretty tough. Um, but hey, uh, I want to thank everybody for coming in today. I want to thank y'all for listening, and stick around because this is just the beginning. We had some early hiccups, but we're gonna get them right in the future. But again, my name's Jake. I want to appreciate everybody for coming out that watched, and I hope y'all have a blessed rest of your night.